Welcome to NorCal Tea Party Radio.
All across the nation, the party's just begun. Voices speaking loud and clear, there are battles to be won. Gathered here to reunite, join the revolution, 'cause we are strong, standing tall, upholding the Constitution. We the people say.
And now the host of We the People NorCal Tea Party Radio is Ginny Rapini. Jenny is the coordinator of the NorCal Tea Party.
Welcome to We the People Radio. NorCal Tea Party presents this to you each week, Sunday, right here on KTKZ 1380 Radio. Let me tell you a little bit first about what we stand for. 3 core values: fiscal responsibility, constitutionally limited government, and the free markets. And as I say every week, it's pretty tough to disagree with those 3 core values. Also, we are not a political action committee, nor are we supported by any political party because they have all lost their way. We are independently supported. We are simply conservatives fighting to take our country back to her founding principles. That's who we are. This week, our sponsor is Del Rapini. He is very active in the Tea Party movement and also a developer in California. He fights for personal property rights, and we want to thank him for his sponsorship. Our guest this week is Mark Montgomery. The interviewee is interviewing the interviewer, which is really kind of funny here. He is with Small Biz Talk Radio and just a great guy to talk to. Mark's active in exposing all the large reach of the state and federal government into our personal lives, which we don't like. Welcome, Mark.
Well, thank you for inviting me. This is exciting. It feels very different being on the other side of the microphone here, or the table, whatever it is here.
I know. I feel like I should have switched spots with you here.
No, I'm comfortable.
Okay, good. All right, Mark, tell us, what drives you? You started with a homeowners association radio show, but small business has always been your heartthrob. But
right.
What drives you to keep on keeping on?
Well, in a way, to put it in a nutshell, what drives me is when people are stepping on my rights. That probably, if I were to put that in real short context, that's it. And, for many, many years, I've been a small business owner. I actually started at 5 years old in Bakersfield, California, and it was a very real business. I purchased my first car from money I earned between 5 years old and 8 years old. My grandmother put it in the bank for me. And ever since that time, it's always been very simple for me to think of ideas and go out and open a business and do things and just feel free to do whatever I wanted to do. And then all of a sudden, I'm in business years later, and all of a sudden I'm going, gosh, it just doesn't feel the same. I'm just feeling like all my rights are being trampled. It seems like I don't even own my business anymore. I go in the morning and I work my fanny off and do all the things necessary to make a business work, and yet it seems I'm losing control. Every time I turn around, the government's wanting something out of me, another piece of paper to fill out, another permit to pay, taxes going up, and pretty soon I'm not in control of my own business any longer. And what kind of brought it to culmination was I was hit with a workers' comp audit. And in that audit, they changed some of the classification of my workers. And I ended up getting a bill for $20,000. And all of a sudden, the light bulb finally goes off in my head as a small business owner. This is a scam. Mm-hmm. This is big business, big government scamming me. Mm-hmm. And then that's where I had the first idea of maybe a radio show, something. I had to fight back. You can't just pick up a gun and go out and start fighting back. You can't start a rebellion. So I'm sitting here going, well, what do? I get on the radio, I form an organization, and try to get other small business owners to wake up to the fact that we're really in a war in a way here. And people are not realizing it. I've always been under the belief that, hey, my expenses go up, I'll just go out, expand my business, sell more product, or think of a new idea, and whatever it may be. But you can't do that any longer.
No.
Every time you turn around, government's coming after you one way or the other. And the other day on my program, I was thinking about this, and I'm going, when I was younger, and not too many years ago, government was kind of something that was in the background. And you didn't really have to think much about it. Things seemed to be relatively fair, but that has all changed. Government is in your face every hour, every day, every minute any longer.
Yes, they are.
Well, when I got that $20,000 bill on workers' comp, I
I
said,
want to hear what
I'm
happened
mad.
on that one.
I'm done. Well, then Arnold Schwarzenegger comes in. I had high hopes for Arnold, and what a failure. What a disappointment that was. At least he did roll back workers' comp somewhat. So the pressure was kind of off a little bit. But then it just continued to get worse and worse. And that's the other point. All of a sudden, I'm realizing that regardless of who we vote for, regardless of what they're saying, sounds all great. We're all for small business. Small business creates jobs. And yet, I look at the regulations. I look at their voting records. I look at everything, and it's always about extorting more money out of my pocket as a business. Right. More taxes, more tax and spend. So even with Arnold, I pretty much had it. And then what really started getting to me, there was many things getting to me, by the way, but one of the things that I remember was Arnold and other legislators standing up there one day, and they're all smiling and laughing and saying, "Isn't it wonderful? We're number 8 in the world economically." And it hit me. I'm going, well, whatever happened to number 6, 7, and 7? We're going the wrong direction.
That's right.
And so I called, matter of fact, Eric Hoag's show, Capital R. First show I had ever called because I was so upset with this whole thing. And I asked a real simple question of Eric Hoag. Matter of fact, I didn't want to go on the air because I thought I'm going to blow the question. I'll be too nervous on the air. And the question was very simple. We used to be number 7. Why are we now number 8? And everybody seems to be happy with that. This state is going in the wrong direction, and that's proof we're going in the wrong direction. I remember when we were
number 5.
Exactly. We've been number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, and we're now number 9.
Oh.
We are now number 9 behind Brazil. And the Sacramento region ranks with Kazakhstan. That's actually in the numbers. So things are really wrong here in California.
Yes, they are.
And we have to push back, and we have to fight back. And that's why I respect the Tea Party and what they're doing. Matter of fact, the first rally I'd ever gone to in my life was the first Tea Party rally.
Right
and
here
I thought
in Sacramento.
Exactly. And I thought at the time, my wife and I went, and I thought at the time, this is great. People are finally starting to wake up. And a big percentage of these people were small business owners.
Right.
So I thought, hey, I felt right at home.
Right.
And the one thing I liked about the Tea Party, and they're still doing it, is they're educational.
That's exactly right.
They're opening people's eyes. Right. And they are still growing, popular, where the other side would kind of say, no, they're not growing, they're kind of dying away. No. I've been I'm not really heavily involved with it, but I have speaking engagements with the various Tea Parties, and you see the growth, you see the education, and it's a great organization.
You know, the one thing that we are doing, and what has been our calling as the NorCal Tea Party, and that is strictly education. And we not only educate the citizen about the issues and how they can be effective in changing things, but we also create the ability for other people to start groups and to educate them on how to be a leader and how to form your own group and how to get it out there, the advertising and everything. And our bus tour that we're having is going to be all education. We're going to go up from all parts of California, educating people on the candidates that are the unknowns that are favorable to small business and favorable to the conservative core values. So you're right. But one of the things they say that makes them say we're irrelevant anymore is that we don't have any more of the big rallies.
Right.
And they're right about that. Those are very expensive to put on. However, what we are doing now is getting involved at our local government and actually running for office. So, yeah, you're right. And we need to get people, especially small business owners, educated on how intrusive the government has become. For you to start your business over again now, could you do now what you did when you first did? You say you wouldn't, but I mean, let's just say you had the same passion. Could you even do it now?
Well, I could, but the real issue is that I could, but I probably would be breaking a few laws in doing it. In other words, and maybe not abiding by certain regulations.
Right.
I would kind of be maybe out of sight, out of mind of the government for a while as I built the business as much as I possibly could. And businesses are doing that.
Right.
Because if you do abide by and go by all the... And most businesses don't even know what regulations are affecting them out there. There are so many of them.
Right.
So, matter of fact, I had a business. We do our business roundtables, and it struck me. For example, Laughs Unlimited came in. We had them on one of the biz roundtables, and I was talking to Skip Capuana, and he says, "Mark, for every candle we have on a table, for those candles you see, we have to pay a permit fee to do those candles." I had another business fellow in at the Biz Roundtable, and he was saying, "I didn't realize it. We ended up having an inspection. They came in, checked the business out, found out I needed a permit for my little air compressor that was sitting over in the corner." It just goes on and on and on, and it's all about getting as much money as they possibly can out of business. And what I'm trying to do on my program many times is to get people to realize that this idea about, well, let's tax the rich. Well, the rich is us in essence, because it's going to all filter down to us. When you raise the prices, even a permit fee or anything of that nature, that cost has got to be passed along, or that business is going to close their doors and go out of business.
Right. People think that there's a free lunch, and there isn't. Tell me something. Why do you believe that small businesses have no voice in California politics?
Well, because
you got about 2 minutes.
I am a small business owner, and I know we don't have any voice. A good analogy here is, I guess, and I have a different name for him, but Daryl Steinberg. I got to be careful what I say on your show here.
No, go ahead.
Well, you want to go ahead and say what I really say?
Ahead.
Oh, okay, Daryl Spinberg, because he spends all our money, and then there's of course Pickpocket Perez, on the other side of that. But they have their so-called Small Business Day, and a lot of lip service. Hey, we are recognizing small business. And you tell me what they have done for small business in this state. Nothing.
Nothing.
And the reason they do nothing, and they give a lot of lip service to it, sounds good, but the point is there's no organization big enough in California, and they know it, to fight back. And, of course, if you start fighting back, you're up against the big unions, such as the teachers' unions and SEIUs and the nurses' unions and everyone else, as part of this whole...
Another thing that that a lot of people don't understand is the power of the EPA and CARB. With my husband as a developer, they levied a fine on him after they approved everything in this one project, and then they fined him $15,000 a day for 10 days because we had an unusual amount of rain. And he said, this isn't right. You came out, you inspected this, you said it was okay. And so I'm going to go ahead and get an environmental attorney, and I'm going to fight that. And the environmental attorney said, you can't. They fall under no jurisdiction. Whatever they say is it. You can't take them to court. You can't complain. You can't do anything. It's that, or they will come confiscate your business.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And I know we're going to have to take a quick break here in a moment, but that's what the Pacific Legal Foundation is fighting. Matter of fact, we had Damian Schiff just on having to do with a wetlands suit called Sackett versus the EPA, and he just argued the case before the Supreme Court. And it's about that exact issue. When you're up against the EPA, they're untouchable.
Untouchable, and that is unconstitutional. We will be heading for a break right now, and we'll be right back with Mark Montgomery right here on KTKZ 1380 Radio.